Today I want us to look at application of matrices to solve such questions. Like in this question here, the question says, a slaughterhouse bought goats and bulls at 1,200 Kenyan shillings and 15,000 Kenyan shillings each. They paid a total bill of 135,000 Kenyan shillings. If they bought double the number of goats and 3 bulls less, they would have saved 15,000 shillings. Now, how do we apply matrices to solve this question? Now, back to the question. We are told that we have goats and bulls, and each goat was bought at 1,200, and each bull was bought at 15,000 each. Now, from here, we are going to let the number of goats to be x, and the number of bulls be y. So we are going to work with x and y in this situation here. We are being told that the cost of one goat is 1,200 shillings. Now, if the cost of one goat, and one goat we have said here is that the number of goats is x goats. Now, if we have x goats and one goat costs, so one goat costs 1,200, and we have how many goats? X goats. So the total amount that were bought, the number of goats here. So you take the number of goats times the price to know the goats were bought at a total number of the buying price was how many. So this becomes 1,200 x shillings, and we do the same also. You take 15,000 times y, so y times 15k, that will give you 15,000 y shillings. So the total cost now becomes, you add the two. So here you shall have 1,200 x plus 15,000 y now is equals to what? So they paid, you are being told from the question, you are being told that they paid a total of 135,000 shillings. So if you take this plus this, you shall get 135,000. So I'm going to call this one my equation 1. Now I proceed. If we proceed with the question, you are being told that if they bought double the number of goats and 3 bulls less, they would have saved 15,000. Now, double the number of goats. Come here and double the number of goats. And the number of goats, we were we did let that the number of goats be x. So if you double, it means you multiply by 2 and you get 2x goats now. And then the number of bulls were less by 3. Yeah, so 3 bulls less means that you are going to take the number of bulls, which is y, subtract 3. Yeah, so this is the expression for the number of bulls 3 less. So we shall have y minus 3 bulls. Now, if these guys were to do this transaction, double the number of goats and less the number of bulls by 3, they were to save 15,000. So in terms of statement, so if they bought if they bought this is 2x goats plus 3 less number of bulls, they will have saved 15,000 or 15k. Yeah, so what does that mean? What does that mean? Therefore, it means that they are going to pay a total of 15,000 less. 15,000 less. Now, still the number of the price of one goat is still 1,200. Yeah. Now the total cost. The total cost now, if they double the number of goats and then less the number of bulls by 3, the total cost will be now, you take the number of goats times 1,200 because one goat is 1,200, and then you add 2, this is y minus 3 times 15k or 15,000, and this one will be now the total cost. You take now 135k minus 15k because they were going to save 15k. Yeah, so if you simplify here, you shall have 2400x plus. Now I'm going to multiply this by 15 and this by 15, so I shall have 15k y minus 45k is equals to 120k. Yeah, if I simplify further, I shall get here now this one crosses on the other side, so that I have x and y on my left hand side of the equal, and I shall have 2400x plus 15,000 y is equals to, when negative 45k crosses and becomes a plus, so if you add 45k to 120k, you shall get 165,000. So I shall call this my equation 2. I call that one my equation 2. Now I have two simultaneous equations. In this case, I now have two simultaneous equations. If I may arrange them here, first equation is 1200x plus 15,000 y is equals to 135,000. That was equation 1. Equation 2 is 2400x plus 15,000 y is equals to 165,000. So that is equation 1 and my equation 2. So I have two simultaneous equations. I can decide to simplify. I want to work with smaller values by dividing through by 1,000. So here I shall divide by 1,000 here, and divide by 1,000 on equation 2 also, and that one reduces to 1.2x plus 15y is equals to 135, and 2.4x plus 15y is equals to 165. Now from here I can proceed on and use the matrices, because the question was asking us to use matrices to solve these two questions. Now, to solve using matrices, the first thing here is you write these two equations in matrix form. So you write in matrix form first of all. And to write in matrix form, you're just going to pick the values the way they are. So 1.2 here and 2.4. I have 1, 5, 1, 5, and this one is multiplied by x, y, and this one equals to 135, 165. So you have written in matrix form. Next step here is you shall now find what is called now the determinant. Get the determinant. get the determinant of this matrix here. So the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix, you take the values of the leading diagonal, multiply them. So that is 1.2 times 1.5, and then you subtract the values of the other diagonal, that is 15 times 2.4, and that one will give you a value of negative 1.8. So that is the determinant. Next, you get the what is called now the inverse. Now the inverse is now you take the values of the leading diagonal. You interchange the values of the leading diagonal. You just interchange the values here. So 15 comes here and 1.2 comes the other side. So 15 here and 1.2 goes the other side. And the other diagonal, the values of the other diagonal here, their signs changes. They just stay where they are, but only the sign changes. Here 15 was a positive, it becomes a negative here. Here 2.4 was a positive also, it becomes a negative 2.4. And then you take that one divided by the determinant, and this one can also be written as negative 1 over 18 times 15 negative 1.5 negative 2.4 1.2. Yeah, so this one is the inverse of that matrix there. So next thing is multiply both sides of the equal by the inverse matrix. In other words, you take negative 1 over 1.8 into 1.5 negative 1.5 negative 2.4 and then 1.2, multiply by what was on our left hand side of the equal, that is 1.2 1.5 2.4 1.5, and then this one multiply by x, y, and this one equals to again, and this one equals to again multiply by the inverse matrix. This is 1.5 negative 1.5 negative 2.4 1.2, and then multiply by 135 135 165. So this is how you, sorry for that one, so this is how you multiply. Now on your left hand side, it's just the same as in multiplying a number by its inverse, you shall get 1. If you get if a matrix A is multiplied by its inverse, we get what is called a unit matrix. A unit matrix, and a unit matrix for a 2 by 2 matrix is usually of this form. During your free time, you can confirm that at your own. And this one shall give us, now we are going to first of all multiply this 2 by 2 matrix by this 2 by 1 matrix. So this one is equals to negative 1 over 1.8 into so multiplying matrices is as easy as this. You take 15 times 135, so 15 times 135, and then you add negative 15 times 165. You remember the order of multiplication. The order of multiplication, the 7 order, and then you proceed negative 2.4 times 135 plus this is 1.2 times 165, and this one will give you, now if you multiply, if you simplify that one, you will get the answers on your right hand side. But beginning with the left hand side, if you multiply this unit matrix by xy, you shall get xy on this side, and then you shall have negative 1 over 18 into, if you simplify these, you shall get here negative 450, and this one will be negative 126, and is negative 126. Now, from which our x, y is equals to, now multiply negative 1 over 18 by everything inside the matrix, which is called, this is scalar multiplication. So you take this one, multiply by that, then that one multiply by that one. So here, if you multiply by 4, negative 450, you shall get a positive 25. And if you multiply by negative 126, you shall get a positive 7. So it means our x is 7 and our y is, no, x is not 7 but 25. You just pick the corresponding values. This is 25 and y is 7. So it means the number of goats that were bought were 25 goats, and the number of bulls were 7 bulls. So this is how you solve such a problem using the matrix method. Let's proceed. The next question is asking, the slaughterhouse sold the animals at a profit of 25% per goat and 30% per bull. Determine the amount of the profit made. Determine the amount of the profit made. So this is how we go about that question. We were told that one goat was sold at 1,200 shillings. That is before. Now, per goat was sold at a profit of 25%. So per goat, the profit is 25%. And the selling price, now we are asking ourselves, what is now the selling price? The selling price per goat now, now will be you take now 125 over 100 times 1,200 shillings. Of course, you take 100% plus 25% because it is a profit, but not a loss. And this one will mean a selling price of 1,500 shillings per goat. But how many goats were bought? 25. A total of 25. A total of 25 goats were bought. A total of 25 goats were bought. So that is means that the total amount. So the total amount becomes, now you take 25 times 1,500. So this is the total selling price for all the goods. You do the same to the number of bulls. So per bull it was sold at a profit of 30%. Now selling price per bull becomes, you take 100 plus 30, which is 130 times the number of bulls. Now wait, the price of one bull was 15,000 or 15k, and this one becomes from my calculator, there is 19,500. That is 19,500. So per bull, this is the selling price, attracting a profit of 30%. But there were 7 bulls, so a total of 7 bulls were sold, which means you shall take the cost of one bull times the total number of bulls we got was 7 bulls, and this becomes a total of 136,500 shillings. Now total selling price becomes, now you take this amount the total amount that the goods were sold is 37,500. You add to the total selling price for bulls, and that one will give you a total selling price of 174,000. Now back to our question. Determine the amount of profit made. Determine the amount of profit made. So the buying price, we were told that the number of bulls and goats were bought at 135,000. That is initially, and we have found that the total selling price is 174,000. So total profit now becomes the difference between the two values. You just take 174,000 minus 135,000, which gives you a profit of 39,000 Kenya shillings. Now, if you like this video, kindly show some love by liking. You can share with your friends, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channels. Otherwise, thank you, and join me for more videos coming ahead.